And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast. The PondCast week, or episode number 62, your weekly dose of StarCraft 2 news and StarCraft 2 action. I'm, of course, OSI VIP with you. I'm joined by Kuro behind the scenes as the producer, and of course by everyone in the chat as well. Welcome, welcome one and all to our weekly catch-up show, where we catch up with all things StarCraft and StarCraft adjacent as well. This week it's going to be a little bit lighter when it comes to news, as we did have a little bit less tournaments for good reason, and also just less announcements overall, but still worth getting into nonetheless. We just wrapped up with the RSL, with the RSL Season 2 Playoffs Day 1 co-stream, and now we've returned with the podcast. The casting, it just keeps going. It just keeps on going. Speaking of, we have the first massive bit of news. I mean, we did announce this, and we did speak on this last week, is Wardi. Wardi, of course, did get married last week. There was a wedding. It was the day after the Wardi TV Monday, so it was on Tuesday last week. But this week, we got a teaser video. Apparently, they did actually film parts of the wedding, if not the entire wedding. And they did release a bit of a teaser, leading us to believe that there's going to be a proper video release at some point featuring the wedding itself. And yeah, it's really cool to get a glimpse as to what occurred at that lovely day last week. It was also really cool, as a StarCraft fan, really cool to see other StarCraft personalities be a part of the wedding. It does seem, I don't have confirmation, but it seems like, I think Hearthstone was the best man. And as Hearthstone was portrayed quite well in the video, helping Wardi get ready for the event, and was also by his side. We also had other personalities like Zombie Grub and Fear Dragon and Pig. They all seem to be at the event as well, or I'd say at the event, at the wedding as well. Obviously, to be there for their good friend in their, their day of marriage, of course. We also had Loco. Loco was there. We had Ubu Thermal. Ubu Thermal also seemed to be there as well. Those are Risky, true. Risky, he also did stand out to me. So Risky, the UK Zerg player, was almost there. Unfortunately, there was no Eva. And again, I'm sure there were other kind of personalities, especially from the UK scene, that were there as well, that were present. Just some personalities that maybe I'm unfamiliar with. But the players and the content creators that I just mentioned were those that I did notice. So Loco, Hearthstone alongside Thermal, Zomergub, Ravi, Pig. Those were those that I did at least notice. Risky as well, of course. I keep forgetting about Risky. But it was really cool. It was really cool. It was a very nice kind of setup wedding. We got a glimpse of their vows as well. Something that I will say it's a little bit more lighthearted is Hearthstone towered among everyone else out there. He did stand out in the aisles in the church amongst the entire crowd. So very easy to spot Hearthstone as he's just a giant among men. So that was interesting to take note of when it came to the teaser video. But it was a very nice kind of reception that they had, and an overall ceremony, at least from what we can see. And again, we're going to be getting a video after this. Also, I should mention that Wardi is going to be casting a little bit less. He did cast less this week, and I believe he's going to be taking a bit of a lighter approach in the coming weeks, just because, of course, he's enjoying his honeymoon and spending time with his new wife, of course, and with their new family that they're going to be starting. Again, it's a really big kind of period and moment in Wardi's life right now, so a little bit less casting is to be expected from Wardi. So if you're curious, if you ever see like, hey, shouldn't Wardi be live right now? What's going on? Hey, he just got married. Like there's other things going on. So again, much love to Wardi. Much love, Pappy, much love. That leads us into our next bit of news. That is going to be confirmation of the Stellar Fest. Stellar Fest is something that we did bring up last week in regards to a big event happening in Canada that was announced. We did speak on the teaser video, but now we have some more ironed out dates and a better idea as to how the event is going to unfold. So we do have the online qualifiers that's going to be taking place from October 1st to October 4th. So 4 days of online qualifiers. We might step into that and might be covering that ourselves as well. That's a big maybe for us. It does depend on whether or not they do open it up to casters. If they do, then most likely we'll do our best to cast those qualifiers as well. That leads into the LAN qualifier. It looks like there's going to be an offline event, a smaller offline event with a 5,000 Canadian or CAD prize pool that's going to be taking place in, I almost said Ottawa. Yes, it is in Ottawa, and that's going to be another bigger event.
I want to say that looking at the dates, it looks like it's the LAN qualifier leads directly into the main event. So it may be like the same convention or event, maybe? I'm not sure, I don't. It looks at a different place
Maybe.
though. It says Click
Yeah.
Esports. Yeah. So
It's
it's
in the
like a
same.
different
It's in the
venue.
same. It's in the same region. It's
Yeah.
both in Ottawa, Canada. But yeah, it might just be one event leading into the other. But you are correct in stating that the events themselves are back to back. They're back to back here. So that's going to be interesting. Bearing in mind that the LAN qualifier is an open tournament as well. That leads into the apparently Constellation Cup, the Ursa TV 2025 Constellation Cup, which is going to be the 12-player tournament. Some players may be invited, other players qualifying through online, others qualifying through the offline event, and all coming together as a 12-player tournament. Once again, similar to Philadelphia, if these events do allow us to, then we will most likely be covering it ourselves. Otherwise, wish the best to, I believe, Steadfast. I know Steadfast has close ties with Ursa TV, so most likely, and he's also based in Canada as well. So when it comes to offline casting and offline kind of content creators that are going to be there, Steadfast should be a part of this tournament. And if there's offline casting, then Steadfast should be a part of that as well. So yeah, that is going to be a big offline event happening over in Canada. And best of luck. Best of luck, of course. I said this before in regards to Philadelphia. I'm going to say it here as well. I think it's really important that they do reach out to other Canadian creators in the scene to spread news and also to be a part of the event to actually bring people together as well, to actually make this offline event flourish a little bit more. Not just referring to Steadfast, but others in the scene like almost called him Zelda, like Upper Tree, for example, like Sal, or even Juggernaut Jason, or some of the other creators and other personalities in Canada, to kind of bring them together to make them raise awareness of the event and be a part of the event in some way, shape, or form. I do think that's going to be really important when it comes to having an actual like audience and like having attention brought to the event as well and getting eyes on the event. So wishing the best of luck. It's not easy to run an offline tournament. It's not easy to actually get attention. So best of luck to those working at Stellarfest. Best of luck, baby. Best of luck. As that is going to lead us into into another amendment patch. We have the SC Evolution. If you recall, we went through a bunch of patches and we went through a bunch of reversions as well last week in the previous podcast episode. Here we have more of the same. What do I mean by that? We have the SC Evolution hotfix 1.16.6, and it's a very small hotfix here. And fun fact for those that are curious, these are all reversions. So these are all changes that were initially made in patch 1.16.5, and in a week's time, I think it was around a week, because if you remember, the patch went live as we were live with the podcast. If you recall, we were during the podcast, the patch dropped, and we're like, so we had to quickly go from patch to patch and cover it. And now next podcast, bam, another hotfix, and they reverted a bunch of stuff. So when it comes to the reversions, in 1.16.5, the Spore Crawler damage was changed from 20 plus 10 versus biological to 20 plus 20 versus biological. So 10 extra DPS, 10 extra damage to mutas. Looks like that has been reverted. If you remember, our big criticism last week in regards to this change was that there were so many nerfs targeted to mutaplay, to specifically ZVZ mutaplay, that it felt like it was a bit overkill to have like 6 different nerfs and 6 different changes to specifically target ZVZ muta versus muta. It didn't make sense to also make an adjustment to the SC2 Spore Crawler, and it was kind of weird. And it looks like maybe they heard that, maybe they experienced that when it comes to just watching and getting feedback from games played themselves, and they came to a similar conclusion where it's like, oh, maybe we went a little bit too far in regards to how much nerfing we did targeting, ZVZ mutaplay. So it looks like they have reverted that change. Now it's back to its original values in SC2. Likewise, Spore colony damage, I should say. The Spore colony was 20, and then they switched it to 15 plus 5 versus mechanical. Now it's back to 20. So that's another reversion. That's another reversion from the previous change. It's something where the Spore colony, they made it do less damage to mutas and and now they've switched it back. So it said they're rid of that. And another one is the lurker aspect research cost. That is researching the ability to morph hydras into lurkers. They originally did actually increase it, I believe. Yes, they increased it from 150 to 200. So they made it more expensive. They made it more difficult to transition into lurkers. They made it more expensive, and they've reverted that. And now they've gone back to the previous value from 200 back to 150. So just a bunch of reverted changes, specifically when it comes to those Zerg changes. And I would imagine a lot of it is just because of just ZVZ and just, again, just it was quite a lot at once. And yeah, it looks like they've kind of taken a step back. It's possible that we might get more reversions as time goes on, maybe not. That's one of the pros and cons when it comes to StarCraft Evolution, is that one of the pros is it doesn't take much at all to actually push a patch through. So if from week to week they can, change things, change their minds again, and they're very flexible like that. So if they do make a mistake, if they do feel like they've overstepped, or they haven't stepped enough, then they can be very quick to adjust. The problem is that it does make the game a little bit unstable. That is obviously the big issue with that, is that if we're a little bit more carefree with the changes that we're applying, with the changes that are being made, and if we're not too concrete or secure or confident in a change, then there's just going to be a bunch of changes back and forth, and it doesn't feel good as a viewer, as a player, as a caster, if the game is like constantly fluctuating back and forth and not actually allowing the meta to settle here. So there is pros and cons to the idea of having like weekly patches and weekly updates and weekly changes, is that it does kind of impact that as well. That's also something that just has to be, taken into consideration, and has to be kind of balanced over time. Like the balance in the fact that, like, how often do we really want to make these changes? How much time do we give the players to actually, deal with these changes and try to figure things out themselves, and for the meta to settle before stepping in, before feeling the need to step in and change things once again. So that is something that's, of course, those working on SE Evo have to tackle themselves and have to kind of reason with how they want to approach balancing and patching the game, because it does feel a little bit silly here, because I'm pretty sure we've had, over the past like 4 patches, we've had a bunch of changes and then going back on those changes. It has happened quite a lot. Like it's become a bit of a meme, not gonna lie. But yeah, it was a very small hotfix, just a couple of reversions in regards to the Zerg races, and that's it when it comes to the news. Again, just a really light week in regards to overall news here, but we still have plenty of tournaments to get into. Plenty of tournaments, my people. Here we go. As up first, we do have our modded tournaments. We do have the 2025 Kung Fu Cup Monthly #1, which is currently ongoing, by the way. We did make the decision not to cast this event. We could have, and we could be covering the event, but if you recall, we spoke about it last cast during the RSL, that we did decide that it was more important for us to co-stream the RSL this season, just because we missed Season 1 entirely, and it would be a shame if we missed out on Season 2 as well. So we have made the decision to co-stream and to focus on other events. This is still a really solid event as well, don't get me wrong. This is the Kung Fu Cup Monthly. Basically, the Kung Fu Cups used to be weekly. Now they've changed to a monthly format, it seems. Whether they change back or not, yet to be determined. But what makes this a little bit different here is that, one, it's an invitational. It is an 8-player invitational, and it's a double elimination bracket that goes over the course of a week. Like it's quite a lot of days invested into covering the upper bracket, the lower bracket. Every series gets casted, and it takes a long time to actually get through it as well. So that's another thing that we had to consider ourselves when it comes to whether or not we cast it, is that if we cast it, we have to devote quite a number of days to covering one tournament, which was a little bit less appetizing, to be honest. But I mean, the games themselves are solid, for sure. The games themselves are solid. Getting into it, 8 players. Who do we have? We have Classic, Creator, Max, Beyond, Hero Marine, Tasia, Rogue, and Shin. Now, what is really cool about this invitational is that there are 2 players here that don't really play StarCraft Evolution at all. I should also emphasize this is played on StarCraft Evolution. Max, and Gabe. Max, and Gabe, they have very, very limited experience in SC Evo. They're very new to the game mod, and because of that, I didn't really expect much from them. So I'm really curious to see how well they performed here. In the first round, we had Tasia. Tasia took down Rogue 2-1. Tasia coming in as second place in the StarCraft Evolution League Championship, so he's favored to have a deep run in this tournament. Meanwhile, Classic 2-0's MaxPax, to be expected. As I mentioned, MaxPax is very inexperienced in this game mode, so we don't expect too much out of him, but that's why if he does take some games, win some series, it's that much more impressive. Scrolling down, Creator, he takes down Beyond 2-0. Quote unquote 2-0. As you can see here, it looks like Beyond did forfeit game 1. I would have typically favored Beyond against Creator. They did go back and forth in the championship. True, they did trade back and forth. They did trade blows, and Creator did defeat Beyond 3-2, went all the way to the ace match. And I'll be honest, I would expect Beyond to pose a greater threat here, but unfortunately did forfeit because he was unavailable. He was late to his series, late to his match. Scrolling down, we had Shin. Shin took down Hero Marine 2-1. Impressive that Gabe took a game. And I see. My apologies, I glossed over this. They have their Kung Fu Cup format. That makes me want to cast this even more, actually. So what the Kung Fu Cup format is, as you can see, game 1 is SC2 versus SC2. Game 1 is StarCraft 2 versus StarCraft 2. Game 2 is Brood War versus StarCraft 2. And Game 3 is Brood War versus Brood War. So this is a unique format where they actually force StarCraft 2 versus StarCraft 2, and they force Brood War versus Brood War as well. Which does create for a very different dynamic. So Gabe, he actually won the StarCraft 2 match against Shin. Makes sense. That's where he would be more favored, but did lose the games where he had to play Brood War Terran, which also makes sense. So, which honestly makes Classic 2-0ing MaxPax even more impressive, because MaxPax actually, fun fact, he played SC2 both games. Okay, crazy. So Shin does advance on into the upper bracket semifinals. From there, we had Tasia. Tasia took down Classic 3-2. That is very impressive, by the way, just because Classic had a stronger showing against Tasia in the StarCraft Evolution League Championship. But at the same time, this is a unique format, right? It is a unique format where we have Brood War versus Brood War and SC2 versus SC2. Like, it's you can't really take as much away from Kung Fu Cup. I would say that this tournament has more entertainment value, more so than like balance sort of thing, which has its place, I will say. Which has its place. Honestly, it makes it very entertaining in my eyes as a caster. Like, I find it very entertaining to cover Kung Fu Cup as a result. Heading down, we had Shin. Shin takes down Creator 3-1, and right now we have Tasia versus Shin, and they are mid-series. They are, I think, actually they just wrapped up. Yeah, they just wrapped up. Tasia just took down Shin 4-3, and Tasia does advance on to the grand finals. Shin knocked down to the lower bracket finals. Speaking of the lower bracket, we had MaxPax. He took down Rogue 3-1. Impressive. Actually, MaxPax played Terran. Oh, okay. MaxPax, he did play Terran, and so did Rogue. I don't know why they did that, but apparently they were off racing quite a bit. MaxPax did bring down Rogue, did knock him out. Beyond took down Hero Marine 3-2. Oh, as they were also off racing, Hero Marine playing a lot of Protoss, Beyond also playing a lot of Protoss. So I think they were just having some fun. They were just having some fun in that lower bracket. Interesting series. Heading on over, we did have Creator versus MaxPax. We also had a lot of what's going on. I just realized. Hold on, there's off racing happening everywhere. What's happening? Tasia, he off-raced a lot against Classic, playing a lot of Protoss. Shin also off-raced a lot of Terran as well.
So I don't know, because obviously I was also not able to follow the tournament, but I believe there's actually something in the rules where they have to switch races.
Yeah, it says Conquest format. When a player wins a game, the race played by the winning player cannot be played for the remainder of the match. I'm pretty sure that's only applicable to. To like quote unquote race, as in Brood War and SC2. I'm pretty sure. For best of threes. Let me just double check here. No. Okay. No, okay. So Shin, for example, Shin versus Creator. Shin, he won game 1 with Brood War Zerg, so he can't play Brood War Zerg anymore. He can play SC2 Zerg though. That he can play. So that's why in the next game he played Brood War Terran. Then he won with SC2 Zerg, so that means he can't play with SC2 Zerg anymore. And then he played with SC2 Protoss in the final game. So specifically, it's split between the two game modes. But yes, whenever you win with a race, you cannot play with that race again. That's crazy. Oh my god. That's insane. Well, there you go. that's a crazy format. So as a result, it promotes a lot of off racing, a lot of off racing. So as I mentioned before, this is peak entertainment value. just peak entertainment. Is it balanced? Are you gonna get the best players? Not necessarily, but you know what? It's fun. It's just all about fun. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But Creator takes out Max Packs 3-2-1. Did win with SC2 Protoss, did win with Brood War Protoss, and won with SC2 Terran. Whoa, Creator. He won with SC2 Terran as well. Let's go. And Beyond took down Classic 3-2. Beyond winning with Brood War Terran, then with SC2 Terran, and then with SC2 Protoss. Okay, let's go. So, yeah, so I didn't quite notice that, but yeah, very unique format. Very unique. Crazy, that'd be crazy. But with that, I believe that is going to be concluding. Oh no, sorry, they're going to keep going. So later on tonight we have Creator versus Beyond, and then tomorrow will be the finals of the lower bracket finals, and then the grand finals thereafter. So yeah, do tune in. We are not covering this event. I believe Steadfast is instead, alongside Indie and some of the other language casters as well. We would cover this, but this is going to be clashing with RSL, and we're going to be focusing and fixating on the Revival StarCraft League instead. So I do apologize for that, but again, there's just so much StarCraft going on, we can't quite cover everything. This is a really fun format, but again, this is like we prioritize fun over everything else. So I appreciate it. Best of luck to all the remaining players. We have Tasia, Shin, Creator, and Beyond remaining. I would love to see like a Beyond versus Tasia rematch. That would be what I would hope to see, but again, we'll see how our players do unfold and what happens. It's hard to really call who's favorite here because of how much off racing there is going on. Crazy, puppy, crazy. But with that is going to be the Kung Fu Cup that is ongoing. Up next, we have the Shijik Murloc Cup, SC1 versus SC2 Cup number 2. A big event here, 14,000 USD, or 20 million Korean won on the line here. A massive Shijik tournament. I did hear about this. This is also StarCraft Evolution. I believe they have their own format as well. So it looks like it is going to be Brood War versus SC2. Losers pick for this format instead. And who did we actually have competing here? Okay, we had a Classic, Creator, Hero, and Max Packs. Interesting. They were invited. We had Beyond, Clem, Kieran, and Gumiho also invited. We had Lambo, Rogue, Shin, and Solar also invited. From the qualifiers, we had Quanta, Tasia, Magic Turtle, and Rumieth. So a lot of invites when it comes to this event. I know there were some people asking us if we were going to be casting this. I believe no one has casted this in English yet. But I would imagine because it is a Chijik tournament, they would force the event to be covered on the Chijik platform. Which I guess technically we could do, but again, there's just so much other content going on right now. Like we don't have room in our schedule to cast more events. Quickly going over this though, we had Magic Turtle took down a Hero 2-1. Cure took down Tasia 2-0. That's a big win for Cure, by the way. That is very impressive, as Tasia's been on fire as of late. But Tasia goes down early to Cure. Cure 2-0s Magic Turtle, and Cure he 3-0s. Cure, it doesn't drop a single map. Cure, calm down. I mean, he's a little bit better versed with StarCraft Evolution now. But from what we saw in the SEL Championship, Cure, his Brood War Terran was leaving much to be desired. Maybe he did decide to invest a little bit more time into practicing. Maybe. So going down, Solo took down Rumieth 2-1. Solo took down Max Packs 2-0 as well. Clem got knocked out early by Max Packs. This is harder to judge because Solo's also one of those players that does not play StarCraft Evolution. So I'm sure he was freestyling a lot. We saw that from Cure a lot as well, where he was kind of like freestyling and just trying to do whatever he could and trying to see what stuck and kind of feel his way through the series with Brood War Terran. I would imagine that Solo and Max Packs and Clem were doing something similar as well, just because they don't really devote too much time to StarCraft Evolution. Classic took down Creator 2-0. Beyond took down Shin. Classic 2-0 Beyond, and we expect Classic to go far. We do expect that. Classic, in my eyes, he's the best player in StarCraft Evolution currently. Is the best player. Gumiho took down Quanta, Lambo took down Rogue, and Gumiho, but does fall to Classic in the end. Did go all the way to the ace match though. I'm really impressed. Really impressed by the fact that they went all the way to the ace match. And this is a multi-day event, so Cure versus Classic is going to be in a couple of days. It looks like it's going to be in like 2 days' time, as we actually have to focus on the lower bracket instead. Tasia gets knocked out by Hero. Ooh, Tasia out early. Ooh, that is brutal. Some really rough performance here by Tasia. I think there's a lot of high hopes for Tasia because he's been doing so well in other tournaments. But here in the Chijik events, he goes down real fast and real quick. Surprising there. Clem also out. He gets knocked out by Rumiath. Again, more expected. Clem, he's not really familiar with SE Evo. Shin takes down Creator. Rogue takes down Quanta. The lower bracket round 2 will be in 2 days' time. So in 2 days, we do have the remainder of the event, and that'll progress into multiple days as well, I'm sure. So this event is still ongoing, but yeah, really interesting results, really interesting series, and I do recommend checking out the VODs over on Chijik as well. Unfortunately, there's been no English coverage currently. I don't think we have time to fill this into our schedule either, but it looks like really interesting matches nonetheless. Do recommend it. Do recommend, as that leads us into the 5.4K patch clash number 4. Again, we spoke about this earlier, but we have had a lot of mods rise up which do implement the creator's own proposed balance patch. Essentially, we have Greenert and Patches taking kind of the reins when it comes to creating their own balance mods. We actually casted one of these ourselves. It was a lot of fun. I think the consensus was that it was leaning more heavily towards and favoring Terran, which Inexorable did say himself, as he did win the tournament when we covered it. And we can see here, back to back, as he takes down Sig, Groovy Man, Mixu, and Mixu towards the end as well, as Mixu was playing it off racing as Protoss, and Inexorable does claim the entire tournament. GG. Again, GG will play it. Inexorable, he does pop off. Shout out to Mixu for flexing his Protoss. He does do well for himself, but in the end, barely went down to Inexorable. And again, this, when it comes to the patch, I do recommend checking out the patch notes. It's insane. There's like some crazy upgrades where like there's like a hive upgrade which allows roaches to be one supply, which is crazy. The ghost was completely reworked. True. There's been changes to a lot of sack defense as well. I remember there were changes to the cyclone, changes to the banshee. There's just changes for almost everything. A bunch of upgrades were added. It's crazy. It's it's crazy. The roach one's like it's like living rent free in my mind as to some of the changes that were made. Oh right, also, and reintroducing the infested Terran as well. True. They did reintroduce the infested Terran. So a lot of crazy changes for sure, and yeah, a lot of fun. Maybe not the most balanced mod. I think Patches even said himself that he's kind of using this like a sandbox where he's like throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. Just trying to figure out like what could be good for the game and what wouldn't be. As up next, we have the Greener's Mod Jam Invitational. Okay, inviting Akedon, Special, Inexorable, and Mini Zerg. Interesting invitees, as we do bring together these 4 players. Looks like they had a round robin group stage to finalize the event, and again, this is another game on another mod, on another balance mod. This one I'm a little bit less familiar with. From my understanding, this is meant to be more serious. Like, this is meant to be more serious. It's meant to be a little bit more thought out and taken more seriously in general here. So more changes, some unique changes as well, changes that I'm less familiar with. But in the end, we did have Minizerg. He does actually claim it. 3-2 over Arkedon, 3-2 over Special. I did misspeak. I did say this was round robin. No, this is a GSL format group. GSL format group at non-stop best of 5s here. Does seem to be the case. And in the end, I think even, and in the end, we did have Minizerg. Minizerg came out on top, Special was second, Akedon in third, and Inexorable in final place. GG, well played. Congratulations to Minizerg. And again, this is all in purpose of testing out these balance mods and refining the balance mods as well. So I hope both Patches and Greeners are getting a lot of good like data when it comes to how they want to adjust their mods and what they want to bring to the table and bring to others. What they want to propose, I should say. Up next, we do have Berry Crunch, the Berry Crunch Open Cup number 1, with some interesting bonus awards. Berry Crunch, of course, he is a big streamer, and this is going to be his first foray into running a tournament. I don't know if he plans on making this a regular event. That I'm less certain of. It might just be a sporadic event, just because there were some sponsors that stepped in to help boost the prize pool, or if he plans on making this a regular thing. Hard to say. Hard to say here, but a 300 USD prize pool, not bad. In the end, we did have looks like Berry Crunch played as well. In the end, we had Geralt. Geralt, he took down Foxer, took down Patches 2-0, took down Nickrak 2-1, and Percival also competed as well. And there was a lower bracket. Interesting. Percival, he went down early to Nickrak, but he was able to come back and still fell in the finals to Geralt. Congratulations to Geralt for claiming the entire tournament. GG, well played. does come out as the winner. And we actually had some decent lineup of players here as well. Like, we rarely get to see Rocker compete nowadays. So he's a rare sight in an open cup. Likewise, really cool to see Percival. Mixu was there as well, and Foxer, of course. So a nice kind of sporadic array of players. GG.
I would also
GG,
like
well
to
played.
point out that the reason why this tournament is in this section is because map 1 is also played on a mod.
There you go. Map 1 is played on the Patches mod, I believe. Question mark. So really cool to see. That leads us into our amateur events. That leads us into the Initiates Season 3 Major Tournament. Oh, I believe this has a prize. There we go. So it looks like we have the Amateur League weeklies, but this is the end of season. So if you've been tuning into these podcasts, you'll know that every single week there are Amateur League tournaments, and they don't have a prize pool, but they do provide points. They provide points so players can accumulate points, and at the end of the season, they're invited into a tournament that actually does have a prize pool. And here, top 3 do get paid out. So we have the best of the best in the Initiates series, or in the Initiates kind of league. For the Amateur League, this is for those that are between Bronze and Platinum. And here we did have Alaska. Alaska popping off, takes down Tebs 2-0, takes down Ragnar 3-0, and takes down Kelp Lord 4-3. The finals went all the way to the ace match, went the distance all the way to game 7. Crazy. Congratulations to Alaska. Congratulations here, as Alaska does claim the win for this season's Initiate tournament. Up next, we have the Veteran League, which is those between the leagues of Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. Here we did have Nelsdog. Nelsdog took down Demachio 4-3. Okay, also went all the way to the ace match. Let's go. Also went all the way to game 7. We have a bit of a trend here. We have a little bit of a trend in regards to how these finals have been going, but you do love to see pure ace matches. Congratulations to Nelsdog for getting first place, Demachio for getting second, and M the Great for getting third. That leads us into the Prestige Weekly, the Prestige edition. Here we do have Arez. Arez takes down Anatar 2-0, takes down Set 3-1, and another game 7. Another full best of 7 here as Arez takes down Steez 4-3. Went all the way to game 7 as well. Very, very intense. We had multiple ace matches actually here as well, as the third place match was also an ace match. Set and Matrix going all the way to game 5. GG, well played. Congratulations to Arez. Sorry, shout out to Steez and shout out to Set for being the top 3 of the Prestige League. That leads us into the Elite, which is those for M1 and GM. Here we had Inexorable. Going down to Deka. Deka took down Ateshi as well. Impressive. Deka popping off. I believe the French player takes down Ateshi, takes down Inexorable, and takes down Lelix in the grand finals. Very well done. Deka does come out in first place, Lelix in second, and Azura in third. Just barely over Inexorable. Another ace match. Did every single tournament go all the way to game 7? The finals? Yeah, every single one. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy value there out of all these players. Oh my god. Just they all went the distance. Very close games. Very clutch series. Do love to see it. Congratulations to Deka. Congratulations. And every single tournament went all the way to the ace match for the finals. Crazy, might be crazy. No. Shows how close in skill all these players are. That leads us into the C Duckling Open number 138. This is a monthly tournament. Every single month, we do host this ourselves here on the CranKy Ducklings. It's a tournament for those within the leagues of Bronze and Diamond, up to 4.2k MMR. This week, we had Winter. Winter took down Libre, took down Battle Pants, and did take down the Macho in the finals. We did feature the Macho earlier in the previous in the Prestige, I think, tournament, where he did get second place. Here also gets second place. GG well played. And also really cool to see the return of the Macho as well. He was active in our tournaments quite some time ago and only recently came back. And does walk away with second place. Congratulations for De Winter. I think this is his first time being the champion, by the way. I don't think he's won one of these in the past. So really cool to see a new champion rising up. Congratulations to Winter, as that does lead us into our next event. That leads us into the Little Max StarCraft II League Season 13. This is a G-Cell style tournament featuring players with the average MMR of 4.5k. That's around M2. That's like around M2 MMR or league. We have a couple of notable players. Cosmos is playing. Let's go. Cosmos is competing. We got Haroku, we got Kaiboy, we got Fireclaw, we got Fletch as well. Interesting lineup of players here. I could have played in this. Oh, that would have been fun. I wanted to play against Cosmos. I mean, I said would have been fun. The ping would not have been fun. There's a lot of NA and European players here, and Latin American as well. Ooh, that would not that would not have been an enjoyable experience. But in Group A, we have the Beast and Fletch make it out of Group A. Neo and Milo do get knocked out. There's a lot of Latin American representation actually in these groups. We had Alma and Mailbox taking down Milka and Fireclaw, making it out of Group B. We had Wiseman and Havertz taking down Sugar Colt and Ebony. We had Kaiboy and Steez taking down Hunted Swarm and Blade of Ire. Medic Jr. and Roselia, they advance on over Winter and Defiance. Hey, that's our Winter. Just one SDO. We have Angrath and Darkblade taking down Nox and Cosmos. Lego Landman Lillian, they advance on over Hero McLovin and Haroku. And we have Frogos and Soulskin taking down Anatar and Xenodactyl. Some heavy hitters here. We do notice a lot. I do notice a lot of recognizable players like Xenodactyl, like Haroku, like Hunted Swarm, Winter, Defiance, Cosmos, of course, Sugar Colt, and Milka. So yeah, a lot of notables here, at least when it comes to the amateur tournament scene. But then you get knocked out in the first group stage. Group stage 2, we had a Kaiboy and Beast advancing on out of Group A. Group B, we had Frogos and Ame. Group C, we had Havertz and Angrath, and Group D, we had Roselia and Fletch. Oh, we had some heavy hitters making it out. Coming into the playoffs here, my eyes are going to be on, I was going to say on Roselia and Beast. They're playing in the first round. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So Roselia and Beast, they're playing in the first round. We have Frogos and Angrath. We had Havertz and Ame and Kaiboy and Fletch. In my mind, I can see Fletch going the distance all the way to the finals. I can see either Roselia or B. I mean, I know Frogos is really good. I think he graduated from our tournaments. I think that's how good Frogos is. But I remember casting him a while ago as well. So I lean towards Frogos or maybe the winner of Roselia and Beast. But in my mind, Fletch is favored over Kaiboy, Havertz, and Ame. I think Fletch has reached 5K in the past. That could be crazy, but I think I've seen Fletch like with a higher MMR. I think he's also one of those players that graduated from MSO, where he used to play in Masters 1 Open, and then he was ineligible from competing. But that was like a couple of years ago at this point. But regardless, best of luck to all the players. Again, we're here in the quarterfinals, and I believe the tournament is going to be wrapping up in December. The hell? Okay. Apparently, I think.
Yeah, I think
I was
going to
say, I think that's like an estimated.
Yeah, I think it's one of those tournaments that just runs like as long as, until they finish. So they just put end of year as like the deadline.
Yeah. It finishes when it finishes. So whenever they get around to covering their matches. So best of luck. Best of luck to all the remaining players, of course. Again, I lean towards Fletch and maybe Frogos to face off in the finals. Again, we're a little bit biased here when it comes to Roselia and Beast because they're regulars in our tournaments. So wish them the best of luck as well in their matches. Leads us into the Passioncraft Emerging Stars number 31. This is for players that are below the MMR ranges of 5.5k MMR. So below 5.5k, that's around mid GM. And here we did have Inexorable once again, the Brazilian Terran player. He takes down Blue Knight, gets a walkover over Hacker's Top, and takes down Lawless 3-1. Again, Inexorable, he usually does farm these events. Like, he's very active when it comes to this more like semi-pro kind of range of play and of tournaments. We saw him in the previous patches tournaments, and now we can see him here in the Emerging Stars as well. That leads us into Turk 2v2 Cup at number 6. This is a 2v2 Chinese Chinese event that has been running. Once again, I'm a little bit unfamiliar with the duos that are participating here. Quickly checking, I see Jolua Loves and Mickey. I would favor them, but it looks like they gave a walkover. Ooh, looks like there was a walkover in the early rounds, so they did kind of forfeit their spot there into another walkover. Wait, what the hell? Well, wait, what? Did you see this? There's a team that didn't play a single game, and they made it all the way to the finals. They got a walkover against TATP. They got a walkover over HCCSB, and they literally just showed up and just made it to the finals. Okay, and then they got 3-0'd because they weren't really tested making their way to the finals. So maybe they weren't the best opponents to have. But there you go. I don't know what the hell happened there. Aye. So a little bit unfortunate that we had as many forfeits as there were. I guess shout out to the duo that went far. Do I want to see what this translates to? Translate. We have Xiaozui. No, sorry, Xiaozo. Xiaozo. From the lower one, from the Protoss, then we had Xiaoba. Xiaoba as well. There you go. Anyway, so they did make it to the finals, did go down to Drink, and his teammates. Hold on. Was that Jeshi? Jeshi Bai? Is that Jeshi? That's what it translates to. Interesting. But they do go down to Drink and his teammate as well. Translates to revealing the truth. There you go. Let's translate to that. So congratulations to Drink for the 3-0. And again, a little bit unfortunate that we had as many walkovers making it to the finals, but regardless, I hope the event was fun nonetheless. Hope it did lead to some exciting games. As that leads us into the regionals and show matches here for the week. We start things off with Code for Giants Cup LATAM number 2. I believe we're going to be covering this via replays, but we'll go over it anyway, just because I think we're going to be covering it next week, most likely. We did have a solid lineup of players here. Again, this is a monthly tournament. Code for Giants Cup are typically Brazilian-only tournaments, but recently they started a monthly edition for the rest of Latin America. We covered the first edition via replays, and again, we'll most likely be covering this via replays as well. Here we had Mute. Mute takes down Neo Shaggy. Neo Shaggy's back. Neo Shaggy. Let's go. I haven't seen him play in a very long time. But Mute takes down Neo Shaggy. Mute takes down an inexorable 2-0, and Mute goes up against Special in the grand finals. Fun fact, this is a rematch. In the first Code for Giants Cup, Mute did defeat Special, did defeat him 3-1, but here Special, he has been on that grind. He's been streaming more, he's been playing more, and Special, he gets his revenge. Still went all the way to the ace match. It shows that Mute, he is comparable to Special currently in skill, and this time Special gets the win 3-2. GG all played. Special takes down Dominoko, takes down Eon, and takes down Mute as well. So Mute won the first edition, Special wins the second. Who will take the lead in the third? Best of luck. Best of luck, because I'm sure we're going to be seeing them again in the next tournament. I'm sure we'll see them, and a big shout out to Cosmos and those working behind the scenes for running the event on a monthly basis. That leads us into the Young Blood number 1. This is a new tournament and potentially a regular one as well for the, say, CIS or the Russian region. Quickly double checking here when it comes to the rule set. I think there's probably an age rule for this, I would imagine. Yeah, it says here that this is a tournament for young players to reveal their talents and motivate them. Okay, so there is basically a limit as to the age of these players. These are young up and coming. Hey, Extra Striker, Extra Strike, is he still young? Does he count? Hold on. Extra Striker, he's still 20 years old. In my mind, like, he's been around for a while. I didn't realize how young he was when he was competing. But Extra Striker, he retired. He retired like back in 2023. Like, he stepped away from the game. Yeah, with that, I guess he's back at least for the time being. He does go down early on to Ultramarine. Isop takes down Lord GG, and we have Isop taking down Ultramarine 4-3. Players that we've seen in these tournaments in the past. How young are they? Let's see. Isop, Ultramarine. Are we ready to smudge? Are we? Are we ready? Okay. Isop, he's 17. He was born in 2008. God damn it. There's a reason why GG Machine isn't here. Like, this isn't just like limiting age, but also this is for like up and coming players as well. Like, it would be unfair to throw GG Machine here because he would win everything for sure. Like, he would just dominate this. So it's about being younger players, but also closer in skill and still like kind of rising through the ranks, just as a heads up. But yes, Isop, he is 17 years old, born in 2008. Ultramarine, he is 18 years old, born in 2007. Oh, he's so old. That's crazy, by the way. That's crazy. But technically, they were born before StarCraft II was released. True. Technically,
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure we already have players that are younger than the game itself.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's why I brought out Eba. Yeah, Esta Eba. Oh god, but yes, we have our 17 and 8-year-olds, 18 year olds facing off here in the tournament. ISOP does win 4-3, does go all the way to the Ace match, and again, this is a really cool tournament, a really cool initiative to foster growth and to kind of promote these younger up and coming players. Really cool to see. Really cool to see. GG. With that, we are going to be getting into our next tournament here. Into the Legacy Weekly Japan. This is a weekly tournament for the Japanese region, for the Japanese country, I should say. And here we did have... Oh, is that Tapioca? every time. Is that Tapioca? I need to learn the characters. Yeah, it is. Let's go. Boba. Tapioca comes out once again. Has been looking very much so dominant in the Japanese region as of late. Takes down Crimson 2-0, takes down Vaishravanya 2-0, and takes down Deadly Kitten 2-1 as well. Not the first time Tapioca has won one of these Japanese tournaments, so congratulations to Tapioca. Hoping to see Tapioca branch out and play in other tournaments, not just Japanese-only events. That's my hope. That's my hope. But congratulations to Tapioca for claiming the tournament. That leads us into the Sunrise Cup 215. Welcome. This is our weekly Chinese tournaments, of course, weekly Chinese tournaments. And we have in your face a player that I'm very unfamiliar with, Night Stalker. Okay, not a name that I've... that's... God damn it. Never mind, I know this player. Night Stalker looks like did go for an ID change. This is Daydreamer. God damn it. So Daydreamer, ID changing to Night Stalker, does take the 2-1 over Latte, takes down Meg M 2-0, takes down, I believe, is that Silky? Let's have a look here. Or is that Nanyu? Translate. Yes, takes down Nanyu 2-0. I remember these characters. Takes down Nanyu 2-0, and in the grand finals takes down Tsukino. Takes down Tsukino 3-1 as well. So big wins here from Daydreamer. We have seen Daydreamer pop off in the past. Is one of those kind of bigger names that we do take note of. I say that I still lean towards like players like Jolly Loves or players like Young Zest, but they did go down early on. Some of the fresher Zerg players like Tsukino and like Nanyu as well. Like Nanyu has been impressing me quite a bit. Does go down to Night Stalker. They all do, but GG. GG well played. Shout out to Daydreamer, aka Night Stalker. Whether this is an official name change or just called himself this for this tournament, yet to be determined. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But GG will play. Congratulations to Daydreamer for winning this week's Sunrise Cup. That leads us into our plethora of OSC tournaments. So there's a lot to get into. From the top, we have OSC League Rising Star number 16. Looks like we had another round wrapping up, and we do have potentially, as we already covered the upper portion here, we had Art to take down Nickrat 2-1. We had Art taking down Sebestus 2-1. So we have Art versus Art in the next round. That is yet to actually commence. We then had Percival taking down Moja 2-1, and Young Yakov taking down Baby Marine 2-0 as well. Ooh, those are newer results, I believe. So Percival and Young Yakov going to be facing off in the next round. The lower bracket is still ongoing. Still ongoing. Also, did I misspeak?
In the PondCast notes, we have a list of matches as I went through the results.
Where are the PondCast notes? But is there... Who covered this, do you know?
That's the thing, we don't know. It was on the TL calendar, but there was no stream attached to it, no match list attached to it, so we have no idea who covered this actually.
Did they just play and no one casted?
No, because it was on TL, I think somebody casted, but they just didn't they just didn't put their stream on Wikipedia and nobody else was there to watch it. I think that was the thing, that like nobody watched it live because the results were also updated like later on, so somebody just updated them from challenge.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
Don't know.
Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure this wasn't us?
Because
I'm pretty sure we casted Art versus Nickrat and Art versus Asbestos.
Yes.
Because we were meaning that it's Art versus Art.
But we didn't cast the later ones. I'm pretty sure.
But like, yeah, as in like that's something that we already covered.
Look, all I had was Wikipedia updates. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Hold on. Let me just double check something. Like, am I crazy? Okay. But yeah, it looks like we had some updates. We had Demi took down Mixu. Yo, that's crazy. Okay, so Demi takes down Mixu 2-1, very impressive. We had Shameless versus Minizerg. Shameless 2-0 Minizerg. We had Sig versus Hydra. Hydra does knock Sig out of the tournament 2-1. So yeah, these are results we didn't know. Yeah, the lower bracket results coming in. We had Jimmy versus Homono. Jimmy does take down Homono 2-0. Homono took down Jomek 2-1. I think we actually casted those matches. And we had Jimmy versus UD Soldier. UD Soldier, he's out of the tournament. Okay. As Jimmy takes down UD Soldier 2-1. So the tournament is slowly progressing, slowly advancing. I mean, there's still a lot of matches to come, a lot of matches to go. Sometimes we cover it, sometimes Dave Testa or Steadfast or Wardi or Chicken Man or some of the other community casters do step in to cover the event. So just a heads up and why we were a little bit confused. But there are times where we cover the event, other times where some of the other casters do cover the event instead. Just as a heads up. But GG well played, and best of luck to the remaining players as they will be facing off. Again, looking forward to the Art versus Art, and looking forward to the Percival versus Young Yaakov as well. Looking forward to it. Best of luck, baby. That leads us into the OSC Mid-Season Playoffs number 1. We did cover this event a couple of days ago, last week, and we finally have our champion. The OSC Mid-Season Playoffs 1 champion here. Cham had a crazy run. As you can see, Cham, he 2-1 Solar, he 2-0'd Mana, he 3-1 Bunny. He took down some big names. I think a lot of people were underestimated, myself including, were underestimating Cham, and Cham, he just looked insane in this tournament. And even in the finals, he didn't make Showtime bleed. Showtime, he rose up the ranks through the lower bracket, taking down Percival 3-0, Solar, Spirit, Skillus, Shin, Bunny. It was not an easy road for Showtime. He almost fumbled. He almost lost the matches against Skillus and Shin. Those are really, really close series. And I could definitely see a world where Shin or Skillus could have brought Showtime down. But in the end, Showtime, he was able to make it all the way through and become this season's mid-season playoff champion. Congratulations to Showtime for taking down Cham 4-2. GG, well played. And what was jarring to me was that we just wrapped up this tournament, and less than a week later, bam, OSC Mid-Season Playoffs number 2. Bam, just from one tournament straight into the other. Season 2 did begin. Steadfast casted day 1. We casted day number 2. So 2 days of the Mid-Season Playoffs have concluded already. We actually casted this earlier yesterday morning, or this morning even. A lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. The results were coming in. So far, no one has been eliminated. Remember, double elimination tournament, so still plenty of matches coming ahead of us. Moja 2-0 Baby Marine. Really impressive player to Moja. Baby Marine has been struggling recently. Moja even taking a map off of Solar. Crazy. Oh my god. Solar does take down Moja, but did drop a map though, so not the cleanest road there from Solar. Goblin 2-0's SOS. Goblin advancing on a face-off against Solar. Nice takes down Inexorable, advancing on a face-off against Skillus. We have Demi versus Hydra still ongoing. Winner goes up against Christiana. Eba takes down Sebestus 2-0. Nicely done there by Eba. Has to play against Cure in the next round. That is brutal. Nickrak takes down Ghost User. Nickrak takes down Nightmare. Very impressive play there by Nickrak. I always praise Nickrak's TVP. In my mind, that's his strongest matchup. He does that is the matchup where he does cause the most upsets. Like, hey, if you want to throw Nickrak at Hero, at Max Packs, at any of the big Protoss players, he has a decent chance to cause an upset from time to time. So nice win there by Nickrak. Rebellion takes down Bappy 2-1. We did cover that series ourselves. Then Spirit took down Rebellion to advance on to the next round. Percival took down Hatzel. Percival 2-0'd Trigger. That was a very aggressive series, by the way. Very aggressive series. And Percival, he was just all over Trigger. He did take him out to face off against Spirit in the next round. Lemon's up against Minnow VK. Ryung is up against Yang Jakob. Shameless 2-0's UD Soldier. Cham takes down Shameless 2-1. Big win there for Cham. We did cover that match as well. Very intense. And we had Harstem taking down Mute 2-1 as well. Unfortunately, it looks like Wayne has forfeited his spot here in this tournament. So Wayne is not going to be competing in this season's OSC mid-season playoffs. But again, this is all leading into the eventual end-of-year finals, so the end-of-year championship. So we're kind of getting to that point. We're still kind of wrapping up these mid-season playoffs. It feels like we just started the second one just because we were maybe a little bit behind schedule when it comes to the first one. So now we're just going straight into another massive double elimination bracket. Again, there are just so many players in this tournament. There's 26 Protoss, 10 Terran, and 9 Zerg players. We have an insane lineup of players here. It's really hard to say who's the favorite player. There are some big names like Björn, like Max Pax, like Trigger, like Nightmare, like Christiana, Solar. But despite all of that, it was Cham who came second place last time anyway, despite this lineup. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. Best of luck to everyone involved. Best of luck. That leads us into this week's OSC King of the Hill. OSC King of the Hill number 224. Oh, Jesus. Speaking of Protoss and Terran, oh my god. As we did have Creator, he was coming in as the current, I think Spirit came in as the reigning King of the Hill. Spirit versus Creator takes down Spirit 1-0. Shameless stops Creator's run early. Shameless takes down Creator, takes down Christiana. These are big wins for Shameless. Then Jumi comes out of nowhere. Jumi takes down Shameless. Night Phoenix takes down Jumi. Geralt takes down Night Phoenix. We don't really have many win streaks here. No major win streaks, but I spoke too soon because Geralt does pop off for quite some time. Geralt takes down Night Phoenix, Minnow VK, Moja, Percival, Hon Mono, and Björn as well. Oh my god. Crazy win streak. 6 games in a row. Very impressive there by Geralt. Big names as well to take down Björn, to take down Percival. Does fall to Jumi. Looks like there was a revive. Yeah, looks like there was a revive, which sometimes happens if they run out of players. So they revived Jumi for a moment. Jumi takes down Geralt, then falls to Nikrat, then falls to Mixu. Sorry, then takes down Mixu and Sebestus. So Nikrat, he's going to be the reigning King of the Hill here with barely those final wins towards the end. 3 wins in a row. GG, well played. Shout out to Geralt for having the biggest win streak. Shout out to Nikrat and also to Jumi and a couple of the others for being able to take multiple games in a row. Not too many though. Nikrat, Jumi, Shameless, Night Phoenix, Creator. GG, well played. But again, Geralt popping off the most here in this week's tournament. Again, this is a unique King of the Hill style tournament where the winner stays on and the loser is eliminated. Sometimes you get a revive here and there if we run out of players, but for the most part, we get a unique lineup. For the most part. Otherwise, GG, well played. That leads us into the Open Cups. Again, we don't really have as many Open Cups this week as, of course, the Wardi TV Monday was on hiatus, specifically for the week. We start things off with Sparkling Tuna Cup. Again, this is the very first weekly of September, and this is leading into the September monthly finals. So exciting times here for the Tuna Cup as we have more events on the horizon. Once again, this week we had a very heavy Korean lineup and a very light European lineup. So we had who? We had Shin, we had Hero, we had Percival, Björn, Hon Mono, Rebellion. We had some big Korean names, and we did have some European representation as well, but a little bit less than we're used to. We had Showtime, we had Geralt, among many others, of course. Stepping into this, Hero, this is his second Tuna Cup, and Hero takes down Nikrat, takes down Shin 2-1, and takes down Björn in the grand finals. Big win here for Hero. Shout out to Geralt, because Geralt, he took down Showtime. I was favoring Hero versus Showtime in the finals. That's what I was expecting to see in those grand finals. But Showtime, he went down early to Geralt. It was a big win, therefore Geralt does shut down Showtime, but does fall to Björn in the rematch. Remember, Geralt beat Björn in the best of 1 in King of the Hill. Here, Björn beats Geralt. So they have a back and forth. They have a back and forth between the two of them. Björn this time does claim the win. And in the end, it does fall to Hero in the finals and comes in second place. Not bad. GG well played. Again, Hero did come in as the favorite player. He's arguably the best Protoss in the world, if not top 2, alongside Classic, I should say. Hero is definitely up there. And here he does prove that against some of these other big names. Not easy to bring down Shin and Björn. Not easy. GG. Or even Nikrat as well. But GG well played. Here he does win the first Tuna Cup of the month. Heading on over here to Monday Night Weeklies number 22. This is a more European-centric tournament organized and run by TKL, by the French scene, by the French community. And it has a different format as well. Double elimination format instead. Here we did have Clem. Clem took down Geralt 2-1, took down Showtime 2-1. Went to the ace match, true. Went to the ace match against Geralt, went to the ace match against Showtime. Does fall to Max Pax in the upper bracket finals. Impressive play there by Max Pax as he knocks Clem down. And Clem, once again, he decides to play Protoss against Showtime. Oof, does decide to play Protoss, and with mixed success as he goes down to Showtime, and we have a PvP finals between Max Pax and Showtime. In the end, goes to Max Pax. This kind of lends towards what I was saying before. Clem has been playing a little bit of Protoss with very mixed success. I think it's taken like a couple of maps against top Protoss players, but only a couple of maps. Like, he has not been able to win a full series with Protoss against another Protoss player. Just hasn't happened yet. But Clem is working on it. He's working on his Protoss. He's getting there, for sure. Is getting there. When it comes to other big results, of course, Max Pax, he took down Nightmare, took down Creator. Was able to mainly rely on his PvP and PvT skills here. There were no big Zerg players, as is typically the case. We had Fiant, true. Fiant, he was out there. He did his best. Did what he could. Este Fiant. But congratulations to Max Pax for being this week's Monday Night Weekly champion. Congratulations here to Max Pax. That leads us into the Big Zerg Cup. Big Zerg Cup number 48. Unfortunately, we were unable to cover this event. At the time, I just had other things happening, so I just wasn't able to cover it. That was yesterday morning. But Hero takes down Nice 2-0. Hero takes down Shameless 3-1. And Hero 3-0 over Bjorn. This is actually very similar to what happened in Tuna Cup. The same two finalists, but this time Bjorn having a bit of a harder time in those finals. Takes down Nick Ratchet 3-0 in the semis, but does fall to Hero without taking a single map. The only player to make Hero bleed, Shameless. True, Shameless does make him bleed, does take a map off of Hero. Also want to give a shout to Shameless because he also takes down Percival 2-0 as well. Big win there for Shameless. Again, Shameless, he's one of the rising stars and rising talent in Europe at the moment. And really impressed to see those results. Really impressed to see his run against Percival and against Hero. GG. GG will play. That leads us into the RSL Revival StarCraft League Season 2. We just wrapped up with the group stage. That was last week. I don't think we had a chance to go over the groups themselves, or maybe we were like halfway through. No, sorry, this was this weekend. Yeah, so we didn't get a chance for the most part. So we have Group A. We have Group A wrapping up. We had Cure and Zound making it out over Creator and Bunny. Bunny was coming in as the weaker link. I think we might have had predictions for this, but Bunny was coming in as the weaker link. Meanwhile, Creator, I want to say had a good chance to make it out, but in the end, Creator barely doesn't. Zound takes down Creator 2-0 in that decider match, and we have Cure and Zound making it out together. So impressive play there. Raynor takes down Estrella. Raynor, he does advance on out of Group B alongside Classic. Does drop a map against Classic in that series, of course, but does still make it out in first place. Classic in second. To be expected to see them both make it out, but shout out to Estrella for posing a threat and for competing, of course, in said group. In Group C, we had Trigger, Bjorn, Gumiho, and Cham. Cham this time struggling. We did mention before that unfortunately this time there were no Zerg players. Like Cham, he has some killer ZVZ, but no Zerg opponents in the group stage. Instead, we had Trigger and Bjorn advancing on. Gumiho has had a very, very hard time in TVP as of late. He's been having a really, really hard time at it. Gumiho has been struggling as of late. Not just that, though, he goes down to Bjorn 2-0 in the TBT. TBT is meant to be Gumiho's kind of playground. That's meant to be where he does best, his stomping ground even. But alas, does struggle here and does go down to Bjorn. So congratulations to both Bjorn and Trigger for making it out. That leads us into Group D. Group D, this I was less certain of. This I think I was leaning towards Max Pax and Shin a little bit. It's like I was not too confident in Maru's play, but hey, Maru, he plays Protoss. he beat Shin with his Protoss. That's crazy. Wait, he avoided TVZ? No shot. What? Did he really play Protoss every game? Hold. Yeah, he did. He played Protoss every game. That's crazy. That's insane, Papi. Oh my god.
A little bit of context, but I'm pretty sure this is what Krang was talking about. Apparently, Maru asked him if he can play Protoss, and he just did.
Yeah, yeah. He straight up beat Shin with his Protoss. That's impressive. That's crazy. That's insane. So really impressive play there by Maru. Able to take down Shin. I'll be honest, I was actually favoring Shin against Maru's Terran. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually gonna be favoring that, but alas, no, not gonna be the case. Does not get to play it. Maru does play Terran against Protoss, though. Does play it against Mana. Maru making that in first place, and Shin does take down MaxPax 2-1, and MaxPax also goes down to Mana. Kuro knows this. We talk about this all the time. Mana's crazy. You can never count him out. He doesn't make it out of the group, but he's one of the reasons why MaxPax also doesn't make it out either. Like, Mana 2-1's MaxPax. Este Mana, papi. Ay, ay, ay. He's crazy, papi. Crazy. Helps knock MaxPax out of the tournaments. Remember, this is meant to be MaxPax's event, in a way. What I mean by that, this is a major tournament that's online. So this is where MaxPax should be performing well, and he gets knocked out. And again, like right now, MaxPax, he's in form. Right now, MaxPax, I would argue, is peaking at the moment. I mean, hey, he just won the Monday Night Weekly. Like MaxPax, he's doing well for himself. He lives and breathes for these online tournaments, but he gets knocked down early here. So brutal group stage here for MaxPax. Underperforming, and I say underperforming, maybe just in a really rough group in general here. Playing off against Mana and Shin. You could definitely argue that MaxPax would have had an easier time in some of the other groups instead. So a bit of a group of death there. MaxPax is knocked out. So is Mana, and we had Maru and Shin advancing on instead. That leads us into the playoff bracket. We actually just casted this just before the podcast. Kuro takes down Shin 3-0. Zaun takes down Raynor 3-2 with a crazy showcase, by the way, of non-stop Glaive Adepts. It was insane. Hyper aggression out of Zaun. Did end up catching Raynor with his pants down and did actually claim the series. Crazy play there by Zaun. We have Kuro and Zaun in the next round. Meanwhile, tomorrow we have Trigger versus Classic and Maru versus Björn. Will Maru off race or will he play TVT? That's the real question. We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow whether or not he plays Protoss. Likewise, ZVZ between Shin and Raynor, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be a banger of a ZVZ. I look forward to it. I do look forward to it 100%. Best of luck to all the remaining players. And unfortunately, it does mean that one Zerg player is going to be eliminated early. It means that they knock each other out. And only one Zerg player is going to remain in the tournament. So best of luck to Shin and Raynor. Likewise, I just realized non-stop mirror matchups. PvP, TVT, ZVZ. Non-stop mirror matchups. We'll get through it, Pappy. We'll get through it. But that is going to be us wrapping up the RSL. Again, this will be continuing tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be the Trigger versus Classic and Maru versus Beyond series. And we'll be covering it here on the channel as well, co-streaming. Shout out, of course, to those working behind the scenes at RSL, to Tasteless, to State, to Sturgeon, to Gemini, and to all the others as well. That leads us into Maestros of the game. This is another big event that we have been covering. We already wrapped up the preliminary stage, and recently we just wrapped up the group stage. Here we had Raynor and Classic making it out of Group A. Very similar to RSL, actually. True, they both also made it out together. So, just like in RSL, they also make it out of the group together. In Group B, we had Cyril and Zaun also advancing on together out of Group B. Group C, we had Clem and Bunny. I would say that's a bit of an upset, but Bunny was looking like a beast against Solar. He was looking like an animal. Like, Solar was having a very hard time keeping up with the aggression of Bunny. Bunny was in his face with Hellbat pushes, with 8 Raxes, with just hyper aggression, and Solar did crumble under that pressure. So impressive play there by Bunny. He popped off. Group D, we had Showtime and Hero. Maru does not make it out. Again, we were favoring Showtime and Hero, as Maru, he has been looking a little bit more lackluster as of late when it comes to his Terran versus, or just his play in general. He's been looking a lot more, how should I say? Has been looking a lot more obvious in his play, a little bit more predictable. That's maybe the best way of putting it. He has been looking a lot more predictable as of late, and in the end, we did see that Hero took the series 3-1 in that final matchup. GG, well played. As Maru, of course, he was embracing mech at times. He was playing around with bio, of course, as well, but Hero was just all over Maru, and we had Showtime and Hero advancing on. With that, we have our final brackets. We have our final lineups. We have Showtime versus Classic, Clem versus Hero, Cyril versus Bunny, and Raynor versus Zaun. This is going to be a wild tournament here. I think a lot of people have their eyes on Cyril, of course. In my mind, Cyril and Raynor will play in the semifinals. It is going to be a Raynor versus Zaun rematch. True, they just played an RSL. I'm sure Raynor's running, or I'm sure he's gunning for like a rematch. Like I'm sure he wants that rematch, and I do favor Reigner in that rematch as well. So I look forward to that grudge match and seeing them play again. Clan versus Hero can go either way. Showtime Classic, that can go either way as well. Sterile and Bunny, I think that's the only series in the quarterfinals that like leans heavily towards one player. Like I favor Sterile 100% over Bunny, but the other matches I can see going either way, especially because Reigner just fell to Zan in the best of 5. If we hadn't casted RSL, I'd be like, no, yeah, Reigner and Sterile, they're a sure thing. They're a sure thing to play in the upper bracket semis. But because Zan just beat Reigner, like I can't say that with confidence anymore. Like I can see Zan causing another upset and beating Reigner again. It's possible. It's possible. So best of luck. Best of luck to everyone involved. And again, this is going to be in 2 days. In 2 days' time, we're going to be live with Maestros of the game. We'll be live here on the channel covering it in English. As always, Pappy, as always. We'll be all over Maestros of the game. Otherwise, I believe that we are going to be wrapping up. Otherwise that is going to be us covering the final events of the week. Again, a little bit lighter when it comes to content this week, just because we've had a little bit less events, or I say less events. There's been a lot of events going on, but a lot of like leagues, I should say. So there's a little bit less updates to really catch up on. Otherwise, you can also sign up for a lot of these open cups. We do have the sign up list available in the chat, which does actually show a countdown timer to all these tournaments. So check out that sign up list. It is available to you to take part in some of these tournaments yourself. You can take part. Also, you can support us on Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. We are, of course, funding all of our tournaments via Patreon. Sea Duckling Open, Sparkling Tuning Cup, and Masters 1 Open, all funded via Patreon. And we have recently reached some new goals as well. So thank you. Thank you so much to all of our patrons. Thank you so much to all of our supporters. Our events will not be anywhere near as successful if it wasn't for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. And with that, our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow, of course. Tomorrow, we're going to be live with the second day of the playoffs of RSL of Season 2. So we're going to be live tomorrow, and also Galaxy Open Cup as well. So back-to-back 2 casts tomorrow. There's a lot of StarCraft over the weekend. RSL, Maestros of the game, also going to be over the weekend as well. And we'll be there. We'll do our best to be there to cast it in English, to bring it to you live. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the support. Shout out to Kuro, of course, for being behind the scenes, for working on the event as well. And I hope you all have a lovely evening, rest of your day. It's quite late here in Australia. It's time for bed. Time to cast. time to get ready for some more casting, papi. Aye. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. Thanks for tuning in.